The beauty of Brooklyn is that it's the smallest diocese in the country, and yet it's the fifth largest diocese in the country. And while I had almost 40 years in Bay Ridge, it's a area in which I'm very proud of. My last 2 years here in the diocese has shown me the scope and depth of the communities that are served by our Catholic schools. We're the best of times, and we're struggling in times. The fact is that money has to be poured into our schools in a way in which we can revigorate it. We've been in a steady decline for over 25 years, 1-2% here, there. But now it's time to kind of revigorate, remember people, what we have, the value added, not only in the extracurricular, in the educational system, but the Catholic imagination that we create. Right now, we're kind of reminding people who they are. My predecessor was a very good man, but he was there a very long time, and now a new kind of approach comes in. I have more of a I spend a lot of time like developing relationships. I go to a lot of dinners. I spend a lot of time with people. And it's trying to convince people of what the importance of Catholic education is all about. I can do that because I have a team that's tremendous, starting with Mrs. Joan McMaster, who starts and ends the day caring about all the particulars. Together, we're a really dynamic team. We're looking to kind of affirm the fact that special education is not something that needs to be put to the side. It's not an extra. But everybody has a unique learning style. And there are many people that may have a way of processing information differently, but makes them no less viable in the community at large. So we have a situation where we're trying to make sure that we have an inclusive community in which every student who comes to us gets the best education, and we can move forward with their parents to move them forward to be the best that they can be and help build God's kingdom. I think in the short run, people say we're a safe place, we're a community place, we have a social currency that's developed, each kid is known by name. And that can be done in public schools too. That's not unique only to us. What we do though, and this is really the crux of it all, what we do is we develop an imagination in these children, whether they're actually practicing Catholics or not, in which they can see that grace abounds. Give me 2 seconds on this. When we looked on 9/11, people imagined using planes as weapons. That's crazy. When we look at people struggling in the world today, we have all kinds of people who see the world in a very black and white way, in a very much a disruptive way. The Catholic imagination, which we are both products of, and all of us are, we see the world where grace abounds in everything we do. That sounds like a bumper sticker. It's not. So whether you're a doctor, a lawyer, a business person, a bus driver, a mom, a dad, a grandparent, everything we do, we know God is in the midst. That's actually the center of my presentation tonight. The trend of our enrollment slipped a little bit last year. During COVID, we basically stayed even. It was a slight increase, but we basically stayed even. Because we were open, we weren't afraid, and we knew the precautions to make sure that our kids were safe. No outbreak of COVID happened in any of our schools. We were able to educate them. But as things got more relaxed and schools began to return, people began to become a little less concerned about that. We're still slightly slipping. We're about 18,000 grammar school kids, about 10,000 high school kids, but we're holding our own. And I do think, I'm optimistic to believe that we're in the midst of beginning to see the bottom out and beginning to move forward. We can say that demographics are changing, neighborhoods are changing, increased costs, that's all true. But people will invest what's important to them. What kind of computer do they have? What kind of phone do they have? What kind of car do they drive? What kind of bag do they have? If we can prove to them, or convince them is maybe a better word, of the value of what we do, they'll find a way to be with us, and we'll find a way to make sure we can help them. The Cathedral Club has been a real essential part of making sure that every kid has a chance. And I can't thank them enough. I've come to these dinners for many, many, many years, and I see the commitment of the people who come here, not only at this dinner, but I also see them in the neighborhood. They're working in our school boards. They're involved in our parishes. We have great men and women here in the Cathedral Club that are doing wonderful things. They're essential, Ed. They're essential to make sure without them, we wouldn't be able to do what we do. Tonight, what my hope is to look at where we're at in a world that's dealt with dualities and real hatred at times. And again, that idea of establishing a new imagination. It's not new to us. It goes back to St. Peter. We see it with Dorothy Day and Fulton Sheen. We see it with Father Berrigan and John Paul II. We see it with everybody. We see it with our grandmothers, our little kids, that we want to see a world that's imbued with grace. And the more we do that, maybe we got a chance at saving the world.